Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Autumn Amore. This is a BookTube reading event going out through the month of September, in which we celebrate romance fiction. It's created by the Bookish Bryants, who are slowly working their way through every genre under the sun, and more power to them. I love romance novels, so I've been having a blast for all of September. I read a lot anyway. I read all of the major house new releases in romance for any given month anyway. As many of them as I can. It's the most popular genre of fiction. It sells more than the next two genres put together, so it's impossible to get to them all. But this time around, I dug deep into the bowels of my iPad. Instead of going for a theme or subjecting you to any more tentacle romance, I dug deep into my iPad to see if there was anything in there that I either had read or hadn't read in a long time. And I read 2 romances last night, and once again, my winning streak with Autumn Amore is almost untouched. They were both in their own way really, really good. The first one was by Megan Erickson, and it is Focus on Me. Kind of out of focus, evocative cover here. I think this is a sequel, but I didn't feel left out at all. It's the story of a young man who is driving across country to an unenviable end. He has failed, and he is driving home across country to announce that failure to his family. So he's dragging his feet. He doesn't want to do it. He has failed because he has dropped out of college. And he is at a gas station in the middle of nowhere when he encounters a gorgeous stranger who is dressed all in designer clothing, but seems lost. Not only locationally lost, but personally lost. Because the main character, because this character is beautiful and is dressed in designer clothing, the narrator of the book starts privately referring to him as Catwalk. It looks like just a model who went astray. Our narrator takes him in as a hitchhiker, takes him in to help out with someone who, even when you don't know anything about this character, you know that he's at rock bottom. And in the course of the novel, 2 things happen. One is totally inevitable, which is that they end up humping like bunnies. They barely get to the next Hotel 6 before they're humping like bunnies. But the other thing is that our hitchhiker, Catwalk, eventually starts to disclose why he is so messed up. And there, I'm not saying that Megan Erickson let the side down with the bunny humping. She doesn't. She throws herself into an energetic narration of the bunny humping. But she really won me over with the revelations of this character and how, and in an interesting kind of way, in some ways that I didn't see coming, they sort of interconnect with some of the problems of the narrator. I wasn't expecting. I was sort of expecting this would be one long confession session interspersed with bedroom aerobics. There are plenty of those, but the confession session turned out to be far more moving, far more effective. So this has been sitting in the bowels of this iPad unread for I don't know how long. And now I've read it, and I'm glad that I did. Not only am I glad that I read it because it was really enjoyable, but because, as has been the case with so many of my September reading events, I suddenly now know this author has other books in this series. I think the unifying thread in the series is not so much characters, although I got the strong impression that the narrator in this book is at one point emailing someone who I got the strong impression must have appeared in an earlier book. One earlier book comes before this. But I think the unifying thread going through here isn't so much that as it is driving the open road. That's road adventures of some kind or other. I don't know. I will read the first book. Do we actually say what the first one is? Trust the Focus is the first book, which I haven't read. So I will find that and read it. And the nice thing about finding this book and enjoying it so much is that I have an author to look forward to, which is great. And then the other book that I read is a reread. I enjoyed it even more the second time. And this is an author who is not new to me. I worship the very ground this author treads upon. This is Elizabeth Hoyt. She writes modern historical romances of the type that I've talked to you about, where the disrobing and the hanky-panky is very much a part of the plot. They are sexually charged in far more explicit ways than the old button-down Regencies that I love so much. I have a whole bookcase of them, where that sort of stuff is left for after the last page of the book. It's left to your imagination. In modern Regency, there's still a slew of Regency novels that come out every month, and a huge number of them are so enjoyable. But you just have to make your peace with the fact that they are more explicit. They are less historical and more explicit. But you still get the pure escapism of horse-drawn carriages and no cell phones and nothing like that. They're still very enjoyable, and Elizabeth Hoyt does them better than almost anybody. And the book in question here is The Raven Prince, which is the story of a young woman who, just about at the start of the book, realizes suddenly that she is penniless. How awkward. So she needs a job, which is, an awkward thing to need in the Regency period. And there is an earl who is insufferable. He is a legendary rake. He is caustic and brutal to his employees, and he is working his way through secretaries like nobody's business. He can't keep them because of his monstrous behavior, his heavy-handed innuendos, his brutal assessments of their work, that sort of thing. But circumstances throw them together. She has no choice. Beggars can't be choosers. She needs a job, so she takes a job. And again, just like with the predictable elements of Focus on Me, no one who loves romance novels is saying that they are breaking new ground. They don't. There are plot archetypes, and those plot archetypes are actually comforting in how predictable they are. It's not a question of the author reinventing the wheel. It's a question of execution. What I argue is true of anything, even science fiction, which bases its entire existence on reinventing the wheel. I still think everything ultimately comes down to execution. And Elizabeth Hoyt does a great job with execution. I think by the time she wrote this book, she was a practiced hand at this sort of thing, and it shows. When you get into this situation that sparks are going to fly, that the Earl is going to find more than he bargained for, more than he expects, that he's going to dismiss her out of hand as thinking that he knows what he gets, and that he's going to get more, and that more importantly, she's going to get more. There's more to him than his society reputation, and that works just perfectly here. Now, I was going to reread this anyway, of course, because it has a certain kind of cover. It has a Paul Marin cover, and I don't miss those. I found online the gorgeous step-back artwork that you don't get on the front cover. I don't think I've ever seen The Raven Prince in a paperback. I think I've only ever seen it as an ebook. So I don't know if the paperback has the step back. I'm assuming that if the artwork exists online, then it does. This is, for those of you who don't know the terminology, this is an inside cover. You've got the outside cover with the title and the author and the price and all that, the barcode and whatnot. But the step back gives you a better view of the artwork, usually only lightly sprinkled with blurbs, or in the best step backs, not sprinkled with anything, just the artwork, which I really like. I think it's a very nice, tasteful detail to a lot of romances. I gather it's more expensive. You've got one more laminated page. If the artist is charging you for that, they can charge you less than if they're charging you for this. But I'm always happy when romances do it. It used to be absolutely de rigueur. You got a step back if you got a romance novel. So I don't know. If you were to get this at your Annie's Book Swap or whatever, and you found the paperback copy, first of all, if you do, send it to me. Don't keep it for yourself. Send it to your internet overlord. But second, I don't know if you'd get this. I don't know if it has a step back, but it was absolutely delightful. So my autumn Amour reading is going just swimmingly. so the event is about to end. We just have a couple more days left of September. Then we move into October. But I'm going to ride it right to the end, so I really enjoy it. And in case any of you are flinching now with a kind of post-traumatic stress reaction, my saying that I'm going to ride the event right to the end is not necessarily a presentiment of the romances I'm going to subject you to in the next few days. I don't know, one way or another. I don't know what I'm going to pick to read tonight. Could be rough tomorrow. We will see. We'll find out together. Thank you, BookTube.